Welcome, everyone, to the Disciple Men podcast. My name is Antonio, and today we're here talking about marriage. Now, marriage is important because it's something that God instituted. It's something that I believe us men need. We are better with our wives because God said it's not good for men to be alone. And so we're going to have a conversation about that and what it takes to be successfully married, which means there may be times you don't see eye to eye with your spouse, okay? And that's not a bad thing. That just happens. But how you address that, how you deal with that will be the difference between is this going to be a long marriage or y'all going to be splitting? And we don't want that. Okay. So I'm going to have a conversation with a good friend of mine. His name is Jeffrey Payne. He actually wrote this book. It's called The Married Man, A Guide to Prepare, Repair, and Strengthen Your Marriage. Very good read. As a matter of fact, if you want to get this book, I'm going to have his description and his information down in the description of this video below. But with all that, man, I'm going to bring him on here. My man, Brother Payne.
Yes, sir.
What's up, sir?
I'm good, and you?
I'm great, man. I appreciate you coming by, man, the podcast and having a conversation with me.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Yes, indeed. Now, you are one of my brothers I look at who have been in this married game a little longer than I have. And it's inspirational to see the things that you all and your wife are doing, your family growing and doing the things that they're doing. It lets me know this thing is possible. And if I'm putting in work and doing things, and he's got what 10 plus more years. We're 21 years now. Where are you all now?
We will be 30 years on October 28th.
Love it, man. Love it, man. And that, like, again, that's motivating for us as a younger couple to see that. Okay, this is possible.
Yes, sir.
It's possible. And it gives us inspiration to know that as we keep moving down the pathway, this thing works.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, I will say I had to learn how to be married. Okay. The Bible does talk a lot about marriage. I did not know all that stuff getting into it. Okay. So there were some bumps in the roads that me and my wife went through, kind of finding our way. But we found our groove, and it's been great ever since then. So I want to kind of talk with you about that, some of the highs and lows that you've seen in your lives as well, and then get some people some insight on how they can be better in their lives, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, so with that, I have my first question I want to ask you, which is, how can a couple lean on Ephesians 4, 2-3, which is to be completely humble and gentle, bearing one another in love, when personality differences causes conflict in marriage?
I feel it's about making that choice between your pride and your love.
Okay.
And they are not one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your pride tells you that you want to be right. Your love tells you, well, what's right.
I love that.
Doing what's right. And so making that a compromise, that understanding, and you're not losing anything. You're not weak just because you're deciding that it's more important for us to move forward together.
Right.
More so than for me to be right.
Yeah.
Because after that, she's left upset and doesn't feel safe.
And that's not a good situation.
And so we don't want to have pride. And I think that's the most important thing, is to just put the pride down long enough to come together for a solution that's going to be helpful for the two of you as a couple.
I like that, man. I think what we do in our home is that it's not about me being right or my wife being right. It's what's right.
Yes, sir.
And that's the part that matters. And as long as we're doing what's good for the family, and according to what God says, we can find even ground to have any type of discussion on and meet in the middle there,
Yeah.
So I like that, man. That works for me too.
Yes, sir.
Second question. What role does forgiveness play in healing past hurts? And how can husbands and wives model the forgiveness Christ gave us?
I always like to say that forgiveness may start with the words, I'm sorry, but, the pain and healing is a process.
Yeah.
It takes time. And we've got to be patient with one another. I can't just tell my wife, hey, get over it. Or she can't tell me to just get over it.
Yeah, that's going to be another next argument. Just get over it.
Right. So understanding that there are going to be good days and bad days. There'll
Sure.
be days that we're both feeling good and we're working together and flowing like we should. And there'll be days where one of us are triggered. I might be home alone and I'll hear a song on the radio, or I'll see a car pass by or a billboard, and that thing takes me back,
Hmm.
and I'm back at square one again dealing with this trauma.
Yeah.
And so, as long as I feel like I'm able to have a safe place in talking to her about, how I feel,
Hmm.
and I also provide that same safe space for her,
Yeah.
I think we can make progress in the area of forgiving and healing.
That's good. That's good. I think even making sure that your spouse is feeling like they're heard in what you're saying. Sometimes I'll even repeat back, okay, are you saying this? Just to make sure I'm getting exactly what she's saying, because I know there's times you hear something and your flesh be like, all right, slip the punch, jab back. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
It's
right,
like, no, 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 I can't do that. I may be jumping off the rail on something else that she may not be talking about.
right.
So let me make sure I'm actually hearing what she's saying before I even have the next thought about how I want to respond to that one.
Absolutely. So you want to definitely be a good listener
Yeah,
and process
yeah,
the facts of that moment versus being presumptuous
yeah.
about what she may be saying or what you've already formulated in your mind.
Because I've been guilty of that in the past.
Same here.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that and be like, okay, wait, 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 slow down, bro. She ain't even talking about that. You
Right.
you done went way down the street on something. You were
Hmm.
off, you
Right.
know.
Hmm.
So that's good, man. That's good. Okay, so um, when past experiences like family trauma, broken homes, or bad habits come into a marriage, how do couples use Romans 12:2 to renew their minds and not conform to destructive patterns?
I think it's important to know that we all come from various child rearing backgrounds,
Yeah.
whether you're a single parent, two parents, whether it was a loving home or was it neglect going on.
Hmm.
And so there's varying levels of dysfunction,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we've all had to deal with, varying levels of trauma.
Hmm.
And so it's important for us to not indict your spouse's background
Hmm.
and say things like, well, you know what, you act just like your mother.
That's the next fight. That's about to
Yeah.
happen. Can't be doing that. That people. Hey, don't do that.
No, you don't want to do that. Don't go there. But as an in-law, you
Hmm.
might make certain observations and
Yeah.
say, well, that's where she got that from.
Uh huh.
And she may, in the like manner, see me with my family
Yeah.
and say the same thing,
Hmm.
and see different patterns and so forth. And so we've got to give grace to each other and know that we're both trying.
Yeah.
We're trying to get away from some of those traumas. We're trying to
Sure.
get away from some of that dysfunction that had been kind of ingrained in us.
Hmm.
So as we evolve, hopefully we can, grow out of some things. But as the spouse, we want to be patient and understanding if they're done with that.
And I even found that as we're growing in our relationship, our personal relationship with God, the goal is for you to be more like Christ anyway. And those fruits of the spirit start to be more inside of you. You're being more gentle. You're being more long suffering. You're being more kind. All of these things, those personality traits will start to overcome what you grew up with and your past experience has shaped you to. So now you become more shaping like God than more shaping like you. And that in turn makes you relating to your spouse that much easier as well. Because she's on the other side doing the same thing. And then you can grow more as a couple because you're doing it as God called you to do it.
Right, and there's certain, gift areas.
Yeah.
I've got the gift of love. I'll just love on you and so
Hmm.
forth. But I may be lacking or in need to develop some of those other fruits of the spirit too.
Sure.
And so, I definitely want to encourage people that just because you get saved and get into the church, that you're automatically delivered of everything. No, we are still
No.
in process. We're still in progress.
Very much in flux.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
That's good, man. That's good. I'm glad you put that out there, Dan. It's a continuous process.
Yes, sir.
And no one should expect people to be changed overnight.
Right.
We should be able to give each other the grace to grow and communicate well enough to let's say, okay, here's something I would like you to work on. What is something I can work on for you so we can live more peaceably together? You
Mhm.
know, that stuff matters, but you got to have that conversation to be able to know that because you can't read her mind. She
No.
can't read your mind,
Right.
you know? And if you don't talk about it and if you don't address it,
Yes.
it's that little thing keeps building up in the back and the back and the back until there's no more room and it just funnels out onto the floor.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, it was just a small situation that happened, but now it's way bigger. That's because you've been sitting on so much stuff that now you got nowhere else to sit on it. It just falls out and makes a big problem way more than it should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. So going forward, man, how important is open communication, guided by biblical principles such as James 1 and 19, being quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger when resolving conflict.
I think the word says it right there, being sure to listen more and to talk less. And that's one of my, I guess, idiosyncrasies.
Yeah.
My wife informed me recently. She said, "You know what? You talk a lot," because I'll just ramble. And so she's had to, be, quick to listen and slow to respond and things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
But I would also say that, having those courageous conversations,
yeah.
addressing those elephants in the room, being able to have those courageous conversations. And, we all have those challenging areas,
Yeah, definitely.
that may be sensitive talking points,
Hmm.
sensitive points. And so if we handle those things gently and again, hear our spouse out on what is it that they're concerned about, how they're feeling
Yeah,
at a certain time or in certain situations, it'll empower us to address it together again in that safe space.
yeah.
And I think that's going to be a running theme with a lot of marriages, creating a safe space for you and your spouse to communicate and connect.
Yeah, I think that's good, man. And even just understanding there's rules to the engagement. You know what I'm saying? That I've got these parameters that we talk about we're gonna stay within when there is a conflict,
Mhm.
when there is something that's not correct and we need to address it. One of the things I know with me and my wife is that we are not allowed to ask a question or answer a question with a question.
Yes.
That's a foul. It's
Hmm.
flagrant. You can't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
If I ask you a question, you got to answer my question. Now you
Uh-huh.
can ask me a question after that,
Right.
but not before you answer the question I asked.
Yes.
And it's something small, but it's something that is a pain point for
Hmm.
us.
Yeah.
And we found that okay, here's a rule. And we don't break that rule for either one of us. I don't care if I'm in my feelings and angry about something. It doesn't
Right.
matter. Hey, that's the rule.
Right.
If you ask me a question,
Uh-huh.
I better simmer down,
Yeah.
answer that question
Yes, sir.
because I'm expect the same thing in return, and she's got to return that same favor.
Hmm.
So whatever I believe the rules and engagement that comes from when you all have some sort of conversation, conflict, whatever, you stick within those because at the end of the day, the goal is to stay together,
Yeah, and I
be
would
heard.
also say those rules of engagement are going to vary from couple to
Oh,
couple
for sure.
based on your communication style.
Hmm.
You know,
Personalities.
I'll throw myself under the bus first and you'll put myself on Front Street and say that one of my idiosyncrasies is um, I'll tend to pry.
Hmm.
I'll tend to try to dig deeper and deeper and deeper until I get the answer that I want
Gotcha.
versus allowing her to evolve through the conversation
Hmm.
and eventually get to, what it is. Because she may be afraid to just come out and say what it is that's bothering her
Sure.
or, say what it is that, she's trying not to say.
Yeah.
So if I give her that space. And one of the things that she does that we're trying to get away from is the hit and run thing.
Hmm.
She'll say her bit and then run out the room. I'm like, no,
Okay.
no, 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 no. If you say it, you've got to allow me to have a response.
Hmm.
I almost said rebuttal,
Yeah, yeah,
and we
yeah.
don't want to have a rebuttal.
And I like how you even checked yourself, even in the moment. You were like, nope, that's not what I'm meaning to say. And I wanted to stay on the positive side with things because while there may be a question in mind we're speaking about or a situation, I still wanted to come out to be good in the end.
Right,
We still got to be a united front in the end. You see
right.
what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it's not like I get my hits off, you get your hits off, and we go to our separate corners, lick our wounds, and we come back and say, what you want for dinner? You
Right.
want to watch a movie? No, it don't work like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Nobody's
saying?
in the mood to watch a movie together,
Like,
and much
I
less
wouldn't be
anything.
around you at all. Now.
Right. Don't want to watch a movie or anything else after the movie,
Exactly, exactly. So again, just knowing that we're doing this because we want the best for each other,
Yeah.
that makes the interaction that much easier because we know at the end of the day,
Hmm.
we're looking to move towards peace, moving towards everyone being heard in situation, and then moving together in love.
Absolutely. It's about us winning
Mhm.
as opposed to me winning
Yes.
or her winning, because if
Yeah.
I win, she's feeling bad and feeling some
Mhm.
kind of way, and vice versa. If she wins and I'm feeling like, man, I just took a L
Yeah.
and, I'm not being consoled or anything, so we want to do what's in the best interest that's going to help us as a couple
Yeah.
move forward.
I like that, man.
Yes.
Cool. So next question. What are some of the practical ways couples can practice prayer together and when they are at odds instead of drifting apart?
I tell you, it has taken almost 30 years for me to come to the understanding that praying together
Mm-hmm.
at the beginning of the day
Mm.
makes a difference.
Agree.
We didn't do that for a long time. We just kind of got up out of bed. I'm an early bird, so I would get up out of bed at 5:15 and throw some water in my face and go in the basement and work out and so forth. She's still in the bed asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the time I get back to the room, she's waking up. She might be on her phone or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And we missed out on that opportunity having that first interaction with God
Yeah.
together. And with that, we were able separately to formulate our own thoughts about how we're going to progress that day. What are we going to do that day?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to when you're praying together and praying for the same thing, now we're being mindful of what God would want for us as a couple
Yeah.
versus just individually. I mean, there is time for individual prayer,
Mm-hmm.
but the core, as you are married, you're now a threefold cord,
Mm-hmm.
and God has to be in the middle of that,
Yeah.
and so including God in the beginning of the day has really helped us as of very late.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good nugget, man. And consequently, we're kind of the opposite.
Mm.
We end our day praying together. You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying? Because my day usually starts early. I'm up at like 4 every day,
Yeah.
basically. And so she ain't up at 4. She ain't getting up at that time.
No.
So there will be no togetherness at that time
Right.
because I'm off doing my thing earlier. But we found that we try to end the day
Yeah.
with us praying together.
Mhm.
And not just us, even our kids. We do a family prayer together also too.
Yeah.
Because we know that our kids need to see this unity,
Mhm.
so they understand what it should look like when they get older. They choose their spouses and stuff like that,
Right.
and they can then impart that same unity that they seen in their parents in their relationships.
Right. Absolutely. And you have to find what's going to work best for you and your spouse and
Mhm.
you and your family.
Yeah.
If praying at the end of the day, works and you're seeing the results, you all feel resolved and at peace with it, by
Mhm.
all means, run it. For us, I have to put my mind on God before I even start because if I freestyle that day,
Mhm.
from a prayer standpoint, from a corporate standpoint,
Yeah.
I'm liable to do things which I have in fact done that
Yeah.
were outside of the will of God and how I interact with people and
Sure.
decisions I've made, so forth. So we're all kind of learning what works for us individually, what works for us as a couple, and what works as a family.
I like that, man.
Yes,
And
sir.
at the end of the day, that's what it's about. It's about coming to a solution that makes sure the family wins in the end.
Yes.
So I like that, man. Okay, so next question. How can submission and sacrificial love, if we look at Ephesians 5:21-33, bring unity when pride or stubbornness causes division?
I think the word submission has gotten a bad rap.
I agree.
When we hear the word submission, like from men, we think, oh, that means you got to be soft. That means that you are, giving away your manhood and
Mhm.
and allowing your wife and the world to just take over.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't see a lot of men in church. I remember one of your other broadcasts, you were talking about what does it take to get men to be more active in church and
Yeah.
so forth. And I think that word submission, kind of spooks men.
Yeah.
Because you mean I have to stand down? Well, standing down to God, that's a good thing,
Definitely.
and understanding the role you have as a husband and the role that she has as the wife,
Mhm.
because there's some things that I actually submit to her,
Yeah.
to, and understanding your gifts and your strength. There's always going to be order.
Sure.
I thank God that we have honor in our marriage. We finally are in a place where we understand order and honor.
Yeah.
And so as I submit to God, she feels safe in submitting to me.
That's the order.
know.
And it's easy to do it when it's in that manner because she sees you're submitting to him and following what he's called you to do as the husband
Yes.
and as the head of the household. So now she can more submit to you easier
Mhm.
because she's also submitting to God in
Yeah.
doing that.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So it all starts from you, the leader,
Yeah.
submitting to God.
Right.
And if you're doing your part, it makes it easier for her to do hers.
And I tell you, this may go way left when I say this, but by me, when I wasn't submitting to God
Mhm.
and kind of freestyling, for
Sure.
lack of a better word, her masculine energy was coming out. And
Mhm.
I saw her in a different kind of light.
Yeah.
Wow, why is she so aggressive?
Mhm.
Well, I didn't give her anything to submit to. So she's had to take the lead.
That's good, man.
And
That's good.
when I met her, she was a single parent. She had just had a baby.
Yeah.
So she was already in this mindset of having to be a provider, having to be the protector, having to do all that.
I got to make it
I
happen.
got to make it happen.
Mhm.
And then this man comes into her life, me, and now she's got to shift. She's got to downshift. And it took a long time for her to downshift.
Mhm.
And it's because it took a while for me to grow into God and
Yeah.
submit to God. And I thank God for his grace and mercy in
Mhm.
keeping me and us through these years while I found myself as a discipled man.
I think that's really good, man. Just again, that grace that she gave you and you gave her in the growth of you both growing into the position that God called you to grow into. That's important
Hmm.
because I can't be looking for forgiveness or grace, but not granting that also to my spouse.
Yes.
That's not a great combination.
Hmm.
That's going to end in a lot of conflict a lot of times. But if I'm able to give as much grace as possible at the beginning time,
Hmm.
she can then feel comfortable to give same back to me,
Hmm.
and then it works better for the couple.
And I want to add this last point
Sure.
about submission. Most times we think about the traditional roles of the man. You
Mhm.
know, he goes out and he makes all the money, and she, is kind of in this subservient role and so forth. My wife has a doctorate degree.
Mhm.
Okay, Dr. Tamika Payne, shout out, and
Shout out.
shout out,
Big sis.
and she has positions that are higher than the ones that I've obtained,
Mhm.
and she makes more money than I do.
Mhm.
And yet, in all that position and income and the differential, she still submits. She is
It's good
still
stuff.
soft. I'm telling you,
That's
I
good
am
stuff.
I am blessed
Yeah.
because so many women in that position are like, heck, if I've got this much education and
Mhm.
I make this much money and so forth, why do I need a man? And she sees the
Mm.
value, in having a husband in the house. That's a whole nother
That's a
podcast
whole
right
another
there.
matter of fact, we had an episode we just shot yesterday
Hmm.
talking about that gender roles. If y'all
Yeah.
haven't seen that yet, trust me, it's coming up. You don't want to miss that one, man. It's a whole great vibe on that, and it's
Wow.
tackling that situation part
That's
of it too.
something.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
just thank
yeah.
God for submission and understanding order and seeing the value
Mhm.
in submission. So we all have to submit to God.
Yeah.
And as the husband submits to God, the wife can submit to her husband,
Mhm.
and we can serve the marriage and serve the family in a more effective and efficient way.
Yeah. And I'd even go as far as to say I feel like I serve the entire family. Like I
Yeah.
make sure that everybody's good before I even try to take care of myself.
That's right.
Because I feel like this is me leading the family and taking care of everything. If y'all good, you good. Okay, now I can relax myself. You see
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
I feel like I serve all the time. And I love doing it. Like that's my
Absolutely.
way of showing love.
Hmm.
It's serving my wife, serving my kids, and making sure that they have what they need. It allows me to, share the love in my own way.
Amen. That's right.
Yeah. Okay,
Yes,
good, man.
sir.
So, next question then. How should a husband lead his home when conflict arises without being domineering? And how can a wife support him without feeling silenced?
I believe that realizing our own imperfections
Mm-hmm.
and realizing our own need for God allows us to, again, show that grace when we're dealing with conflict.
Yeah.
And because if we come out with, it's your fault because, or
It's
this is
immediately going to throw gasoline on that fire.
exactly, so we're made in God's image, and when we go to God, what's the first thing we want to do? We want to praise and worship Him first.
Mm-hmm.
And when we do that to our wives, say, hey, I want to thank you for being a wonderful wife. You are a wonderful mother,
Mm-hmm.
and you do a lot of great things. And I just want to let you know I appreciate you. And that prepares her. And sometimes your wife will go, okay, I know the other shoe's going to drop now.
What else you trying to say over there,
Yeah,
buddy?
exactly. But here comes a but.
Right.
But I think letting her know as I'm coming into this conversation that we're about to have, I want you to know that I see all the good that you do.
Yeah.
I've got maybe one or two issues that
Mhm.
I'm dealing with right now, and so it just makes it more palatable when
Sure.
you approach it from that perspective. And let her know, look, I'm not perfect.
Mhm.
I realize my flaws. I'm hyper aware
Yeah.
of the things that I struggle with and the things that I get wrong.
Mhm.
And my daily prayer is, God, decrease me and you be increased in me. Anoint me to be a better Christian, man, husband, father, teacher, musician,
Hmm.
whatever capacity you have me to serve,
Yeah.
and most importantly, as a child of God, And so, understanding that we all have a need, for improvement,
Yeah.
and whether there's room to grow.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Definitely. And I think at the end of the day, just knowing that it's important for us to make space to hear each other.
Hmm.
Um, Let me take a pause before I'm ready to respond back to make sure I heard exactly what's being said. Because I may think I heard what she said,
Hmm.
and then I start saying what I'm saying, but it's like, wait, you missed the whole thing that she was talking about. That's
Yeah.
not what she was talking about.
Hmm.
And the other thing I also found is that my body language was something I had to work on myself. My wife knows I got a certain pose. It'll be one of these right here, and
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
like, I need you to loosen up. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Hmm.
Put unloosen the arms because
Yeah.
you look like you're being defensive now.
Uh-huh.
And for me, I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm just listening.
Right.
But it was something that body language wise, I was seeing differently. So I said, okay, I can make this small adjustment for her
Hmm.
to make sure we have a greater, a better exchange, because now she feels like I'm listening completely versus I'm guarding, ready to fight back. You know what I'm saying, with an answer or something like
Yes.
that. So you just learn, how do I put us in position so that we can be heard well
Hmm.
and grow from the situation versus I'm gonna say what I want to say, I'm gonna get it off, and you got to just take it how I give it.
Yeah.
That's never gonna work.
No. I was going to touch on the posture of the
Hmm.
person who's listening.
Yeah.
Love my wife to death. She does this thing where she's expressing herself and she goes, and I know you're looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, I'm just looking at you with my eyes. So she will assign me feelings. She'll say,
Yeah.
and I know that you are, based on the way you're looking at me, you think
Hmm.
I'm crazy. And I'm like, no, honey, I'm listening
Right.
and I want to,
I'm just locked in
I'm
right
locked
here.
in. I want to
Listen.
process versus reacting. Yeah.
I got you. I got you. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the next question then. What biblical strategies can couples use to rebuild trust after it's been damaged by sin, poor decisions, or miscommunication?
I tell you, we want to trust our spouse and we also want to be trustworthy.
Hmm.
We can't have double standards,
Yeah.
where I have a certain demand and expectation of my wife and the way she conducts herself while I get to wild out and be in the streets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think, showing that, the safeguards that you're putting up, like if you had a gap and an opening and something happened,
Hmm.
I think it's good for you to show her, listen, I want to let you know that I'm going to keep my phone right side up if you're in the room.
Hmm.
If I see you like flipping it down all of a sudden, that's usually an indicator, that I'm hiding something or whatever.
Look a little suspicious.
Exactly. It's a little sus, as they say, but doing little things,
Yeah.
like how do you place your phone,
Hmm.
and answering questions freely.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything to hide, you can answer yes,
Sure.
no, I was here, I was there,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and but when you are carrying guilt, because you were out of pocket, did something you weren't supposed to do,
Hmm.
that really diminishes that trust level.
Yeah.
And coming back after that, admitting what you've done,
That's big right there.
you know?
I owning up to it. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I didn't
Hmm.
get it right here. I missed it.
Hmm.
I apologize.
Right.
Full stop. I'm not trying to make an excuse for
Uh-huh.
anything.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Goes a long way.
Yeah.
Goes a whole long way.
Hmm.
And I think that when you are in the wrong, we have the tendency to be able to rationalize why something happened and why
Hmm.
it made sense.
Right.
They don't care about none of that.
No.
Using the wrong. I
That's
need
right.
you to admit you were wrong,
Right.
own that,
Uh-huh.
and then let's see how we move past that. And if we are humble enough as men to do that,
Mhm.
I think it shows an example as a leader for the wife, if they're in that position where they made a mistake and they got to
Yes.
own up to it and then move past it. They can see that we led with that.
Hmm.
They can follow with that as well.
Absolutely. I think owning what you've done and saying this was a choice.
Yeah.
I'm old enough now where I can say, you know what I did, and this is why I did it, and it wasn't your fault. I didn't do it to get back at you. I didn't do
Yeah.
it to intentionally hurt you. I did what I did because I was being selfish,
Right. Right.
and I chose to not follow my godly instincts, but to follow my flesh, whether it's in something that I've done, said, or conspired, so again, leading with, and owning up to what you've done.
Yeah.
Now, the bad part about some situations is you've got people who hide things, and then your spouse has that sixth sense or whatever like that, and they
Holy
have to
Ghost be
find out.
talking to him.
Holy Ghost, and we've had
Hey,
that.
ask him this.
Yeah, ask him that. Yeah, and that has happened. And
Yeah.
and again, I'll probably get in trouble for saying this. And she was like, hey, don't be throwing me under the bus or whatever like that. But
I ain't gonna do that.
But I wouldn't. I wouldn't be serving God at this moment if I didn't share. That when you are in touch with God, in tune with God, He will speak to you.
Yeah.
We were on a corporate fast one time, and and I was just fasting just to participate.
Yeah.
I wasn't fasting for anything specific.
Sure.
And but at the end of that fast, God spoke and revealed some things. I'm like going, whoa, And so when I approached her about that thing, and come to find out I was spot on.
Yeah.
And I was upset because of what I found out, but I was also elated that I actually heard from God.
Hey, He's always speaking.
Yeah.
Are you listening?
Are you listening?
That's what it always comes down to, man. I'm up here talking. Are you listening?
Yes.
And can you respond in the moment like I tell you to do it?
Yeah.
Because there's time and place for everything, and then we keep that timing with stuff. It works kind of along with His plan.
The Bible said, let he who has an ear hear what the Spirit is saying to the church.
Yeah.
And, Pastor Dwight Washington Sr. has often said that, again, God is always speaking. It's like radio waves. And do you have your antenna up? Do you have your receptor up?
Yeah.
Your 4 or 5G or whatever, to catch what it is, and, God already, knows the beginning end to that situation.
Exactly.
Nothing's catching them by surprise.
Not at all.
And we can get in that flow if we get into God and be more intimate with our prayer life with that.
It's important, man, and that's how we kind of stay connected. And also that's how we're able to live a more submitted life as husbands and wives, because we can't do it by ourselves.
No.
Even our best efforts, we can just make mistakes. It's not even I'm purposely doing something. It's just I had an oversight. I missed something.
Yeah.
And like you were just saying, the Holy Spirit can guide you on things to say and do to keep problems from happening.
Yes.
Because you're staying in constant communication with Him. You're making space daily to hear.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like you were talking about, y'all pray in the mornings. We do our own personal prayer time, devotional time, individually on our own in the morning, because it's like I gotta start every day doing something that makes my body stronger, makes my mind stronger, and makes my spirit stronger.
Absolutely.
And the day starts off better when we start our days like that.
Yes.
But it also helps you to get those spiritual muscles together and spiritual ears where you can hear God better, respond quicker. Just like I ain't gonna be like, was that God? Did I hear God say that?
Right.
No, you know the voice of God because you're being a good sheep.
Yeah.
And a sheep know the voice of the shepherd.
Right.
And when He speaks, you move. Because he's like, I know who that is.
That's right.
That lines up what I'm hearing in the word already. I can do this with ease.
I like what you said about not only hearing from God, but also being able to respond and do what He told you to do. I would tell any couple, or it would admonish any newly married couple or a couple that's considering marriage, to really make that decision. Are we going to be in God with this?
Yeah.
And are we going to create space and allow each other to express our thoughts and concerns with one another, you know? And if you do that, I think you'll stand a good chance of
and let's be clear. Let's be clear. And I'm looking at the camera when I say this, okay? This will not work without God. Your best efforts will not be enough. My best efforts are not enough. Your best efforts are not enough.
Absolutely.
God made marriage for it to be spouse, you, and Him. Can't do it without Him.
That's it.
Just want to make sure that's clear. Just so we all same page.
Threefold cord.
Exactly. Exactly. And if you're ever trying to do it on your own strength, on your own merit, God bless you. Because on your best efforts, you're going to fail.
I mean, marriages are already ending at about a 50% rate.
Yeah.
And
usually because they're not doing it as the Bible tells it.
Right.
So it's like saying, I have a car and I'm going to drive this car.
Yeah.
I'm never going to look at the owner's manual. And And then I wonder why stuff starts smoking out the back at times.
Wow.
I just been driving, putting gas in it.
Yeah.
Did you change the oil like you're supposed to?
Right.
Did you get the tune up at the time frame you're supposed to?
That's right.
There's maintenance that's got to be done. Did you know that little book that comes with the car?
Yeah.
The one that you never cracked open and read?
Right.
It tells you all of that stuff.
The pages are fresh
and
have never been flipped.
Probably got plastic still over.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like this book tells you how to manage this car well.
Yes.
This Bible tells you how to manage life well.
That's it.
And in that life is marriage.
Yes. Yep.
It's easy, man. I'll tell you, the Bible, 66 books. If you read that stuff, you will live a better life.
For sure.
Live a better life. All right, man. So let's go to the next question, man. How can couples remember that their spouse is not the enemy, but that they are united in Christ against spiritual forces? Looking at Ephesians 6 and 12.
I encourage people, and I encourage my wife to reflect on what brought us together in the first place. When I first saw my wife, I knew I was going to marry her. And that's kind of a fairy tale thing. That was one of the fairy tale things that actually happened. I was sitting in the back of the church after Sunday school. I had just joined the church, and I saw this disheveled lady coming in here with a diaper bag, carrying a baby and a purse and a Bible, and the glasses are crooked, and the jacket's too big, and stuff just falling. I said, that's my wife right there. I want to marry that girl.
I see wifey.
It's I see wifey, And there were other young ladies in the church that, were well kept and put together and so forth. But I say all that because when you're upset at your spouse because you guys are having conflict, whatever like that, and you're considering giving up, ask yourself, what drew me to her in the first place?
Yeah, that makes a difference.
What allowed the honeymoon period to be what it was? Because that honeymoon period, you all were locked in. We were holding hands in public and PDA and all that kind of stuff. And, at some point, and then you got comfortable and familiar and you stopped doing that stuff, And so, just stop, breathe, and say, you know what? I'm with her for a reason.
Yeah.
And the longer that we've been together, the more I'm learning about her and the more I value about her.
Sure.
Because I'll confess, I was physically attracted to her. She checked all the boxes. I want her to be this height, and I want her to have eyes like this and hair like that and all this kind of stuff. And as we got married, I learned more about her. And as she evolved, I really started to appreciate her intellect and her passion and her drive and so forth. And so, understanding that, she is a gift and a blessing.
Yeah.
So don't just throw your hands up. Take a moment, stop, reflect, think about what brought you together, and let that be the impetus to wanting to get things resolved.
That's good, man. That's good. I even believe in throwing spiritual, mental money in the bank all the time.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm telling her daily, hey, I love you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I appreciate you cooking this dinner.
Yeah.
Every time. I say it every time dinner. Thanks for cooking dinner, baby.
Yeah.
Real simple. Real simple. But it takes a mundane thing that she may be doing, and I let her know I appreciate it every time.
Yes.
And I really do. But there's times we can feel a certain way, but we don't verbalize it.
Yes.
And then it's like, well, you never say it.
Ah.
Oh, it's been 5 years and I ain't said it? That's a problem.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? So I purposely try to make sure I'm always telling her, I appreciate this. Thank you for this.
Yes.
I really appreciate that. Because again, it lets her know on a daily basis how much I appreciate all she does, who she is, and just her presence. You know what I'm saying? I think it goes a long way. So if there is a problem, and I have to do a spiritual deposit, a withdrawal, I made a mistake.
Right.
She can give me a little more grace because she know, hey, man, this dude's been in the pocket all this time.
Right.
This little small stuff, I can get over that,
I tell you, I'm going to show my age. Yes, I'm 55 years old.
Hey, that's all right, man. You look good. You look good for 55.
That.
Come
yes,
on,
sir.
you see the guns. You see the guns, right?
But I was a kid of the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
And there was a music artist named James Ingram.
Okay.
Who had a song called 100 Ways. And the words were, compliment what she does. Send her roses just because. If it's violins she wants, let them play. And just talks about all these different ways you can make those deposits.
Yeah.
And it's not so much about making the deposit for the sole purpose of making a withdrawal
Hmm.
when in need, yeah. But I think it just helps motivate her to
Sure.
make deposits into you because
Exactly.
they'll reciprocate. And if you don't give them anything, if you don't prime the pump
Yeah.
a little bit, you might not have anything to draw out of. So we've
Sure.
got to, prime that pump, put some water in the well, remind her, that she's beautiful
Hmm.
and she's important to you and what she
Yeah.
does well and so forth. And, you see her growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think in the end, like I said, I believe in love languages.
Hmm.
I believe we show love differently.
Hmm.
And when you there's a book about that. I think it's Five Love Languages,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. We read that, and we had a chance to talk about, okay, where do you see yourself?
Hmm.
And mine's was physical touch and words of affirmation,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the way I show love.
Uh-huh.
But that's not the way she received love.
Hmm.
So I had to find out how she received love, and not I'm gonna give you love the way I give it, and then wonder, well, why don't you feel the love I'm giving? Well, you're not giving it in the way I receive it as well.
Right.
But if I made that adjustment, then she
Hmm.
gets the feeling that I've been trying to give her
Yeah.
in the way that receives it better for her.
Right.
You know?
I tell you, you pretty much knocked it out the park with that statement right there. Because I had a habit, like you, physical touch, and I didn't realize how important the words of affirmation were until I got older.
Huge.
You know,
Yeah.
and so
That's me.
I thought it was just strictly physical touch.
Hmm.
So if I like physical touch, I'm sure she does.
Of
Pat,
course.
pat, man, maybe she didn't want to be touched at that moment. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
I would get a little too touchy feely for her, and she would get a little upset with me, whatever. But when she understood that that's my love language, then she will translate that to me or give me that.
Right.
And I
Make
had
sure
to,
she gives room for you to do that as well.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
the physical touch, but then also, like you say, the words of affirmation, the acts of service.
Mhm.
She asked me, "Hey, can you do this thing for me or whatever?" And I do it and do it gladly.
Yeah.
Can you rub my feet or whatever like that? I'm like, oh, I just sat down, just want to watch the game. And I say, you know what, hon, let me get the lotion. Let me,
Yeah.
get your feet rubbed or whatever like that.
Gotcha.
And she appreciates the fact that I, stopped what I was doing
Hmm.
to serve her.
Yeah.
And in return, then she will give me those words of affirmation and the physical touch as well. So
Mhm.
again, it's the reciprocation and understanding how they receive,
Yeah.
what it is you're giving.
Yeah, that's good, man. And just like your wife, mine's wife also is an act of service.
Mhm.
So like if she's asking me to do something that needs to be done, she ain't gonna ask you 3 and 4 times to get it done.
Right.
Now she feel like I don't feel that as love because the thing I need to get done that I came to you about, it still ain't done.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And just okay, I got you. And if it's something that didn't take nothing but a minute, let me just go ahead and knock it out really quick because I know I'll get busy and I forget.
Right.
Just straight up, just like, okay, yeah, I got you. But I'm already been thinking about 20 other things when she came to me with that.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll get that later on. But then if it's something I can do quickly, let me get that done now because I know me.
Yeah.
I mess around and forget because I'm like, I'm had 12 other things going to do right now.
Right.
You know?
Mhm.
But again, just knowing how she receives love and I move in that manner, it makes everything in the household move that much better.
For sure.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, so I got one more question for you, man. What does it look like to heal together over time? Not just fixing the immediate issue, but walking through the sanctification process as one flesh.
Mm. Realizing that healing is a process,
Mhm.
and you can't just again tell somebody just get over it.
Sure.
Hey, look, I said I'm sorry. Okay,
Oh,
so
next argument. Right now and go.
And so realizing that we heal differently.
Yeah.
And we're coming from different perspectives based on our trauma, the dysfunction, our past experiences, and so forth. All that plays into how we heal.
Yeah.
And so we can't expect our spouse to heal the same way that we do.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how I'm a man. I'm a manly man, but man, sometimes I hurt more than I want to admit.
We got emotions.
Yeah, we got
We
emotions.
feel things.
And
We know hard rock.
right, I can be hard on the yard all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And but I think realizing that healing is a process, and again,
Yes.
giving that time, that space, that grace, the safe space for you and your spouse to share. You know what? I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad moment
Yeah.
right now because I picked up your phone and I saw a message come through, and that name looks familiar.
Mhm.
Maybe somebody from my past or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And I have to say, well, hey, actually, that was something else or whatever, or admit to, okay, yeah, I'm still in contact with that person, but for business purposes. But if you need me to cut that person off, I will do that.
Yeah.
And my wife and I had a purge. And there were people that were in my life that she didn't feel comfortable with.
Sure.
And I said, well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and cut them off.
And they can go.
And there are people in her life that, I wasn't comfortable with. She cut them off. And then we just showed each other, hey, I'm blocking and deleting,
Yeah.
this thing right there, because that other person didn't mean well for our marriage.
Yeah.
And you're going to have people like that who are, I think they're sent, to come and test your marriage and test you and things
Sure.
like that. And we've got to be bold enough to just say no. And
Yeah.
it's hard, and it's so important for you as a couple to stay close. So my prayer during our corporate prayer is that God, be a fence around us. Anoint our marriage, anoint us to love and love on each other the way you've called us to. Have us
Yeah.
to talk, listen, pray, play, uplift, inspire, motivate, and encourage each other, and give each other those things that we need, so that we don't have to seek somebody else for that, and then have to come back around. And we've hurt each other, and now we've got to heal, and now we got to go through all these gyrations and so forth. But it's just important to again assure that your spouse that you're interested in their healing and their
Yeah.
feelings are valid.
I think that's important, and I like that you touched on already. Just putting guardrails around your marriage. You protect everything else.
Yeah.
You lock your doors.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? You lock your doors, your car when you get out of it.
Mhm.
Anything you love, you protect.
Yes.
Everybody doesn't have access to the things that are most important to you.
Mhm.
And I think in a marriage, it's the same situation. So
Absolutely.
we have, again, rules of engagement. There's certain things we do, certain things we don't do.
Mhm.
And I just don't have just random conversations with just females.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my wife to ever feel like somebody else has got a place in my heart
Mhm.
that she doesn't have.
Right.
Or I feel like I can have conversations with this person because I can get it off with them,
Mhm.
but I can't do it with her.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? I just don't do that because
Yeah.
I don't want her to be in a bad position because of that.
Right.
Or for me to be tempted either. Because
Right.
I'm fallible. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I can make mistakes. But if I don't even put myself in position,
Right.
those mistakes can't be made.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I think that those things are healthy for marriages, and it makes sure that you continue to move forward and stay together close,
Absolutely. And we have to do those things for our spouse to lock things in, to reassure our spouse.
Mhm.
I see you, I feel you, I understand you,
Yeah.
I want to serve you. And you hear sometimes about the 80-20, rule.
Mhm.
And, your spouse has 80% of everything you want, need,
Mhm.
in a spouse and a partner. But then there's that 20% that they're not doing. And so the enemy will send somebody who just has 20%.
Mhm.
And you are having to make the decision, do I just chuck the 80% that my wife is doing for me for this 20%? And then you still have to learn this person's issues and
Mhm.
isms and so forth. And you just destroyed your life and your family or your reputation and so forth.
Whoa.
And
It ain't
so
never worth it.
it's not, and
She ain't never that cute.
no, I can I can safely say
Yeah.
that, and if you communicate with your spouse and say, here's the 80% that you're providing me. I'm so thankful for that 80%. You are
Love it.
killing it, sis.
Mhm.
The 20% is this. Is there any way that we can kind of talk about how you can accommodate me for this, and what is it that you need? What 20%
Yeah.
am I missing?
Yeah.
So I don't want to miss the mark either.
And that's that great communication we just talked about earlier, where when you're having that type of dialogue, you can get it out there and let that be known. You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Because she may not know that it's what you're needing, or you may not communicate that to her, or vice versa.
Right.
So the other person can't read your mind, is what I'm trying to get
Yeah,
at.
exactly.
And if you get it off, and not in a contentious way when things are bad,
Yeah.
just in conversation.
Mhm.
Hey, you know what? I would like if you did more of this, or
Yeah.
could you do this because I feel better, or I feel this way because if you do this, you make that known.
Yeah.
And I believe that your spouse wants the best for you. She wants the best for your relationship.
Mhm.
She can make adjustments, just like we are expected to make adjustments for our wives.
That's right.
And it's, again, not what's good for me, not what's good for her, what's good for the family,
Amen.
what's good for the relationship.
Yes, sir.
And then if it's doing it unto God anyway,
Mhm.
He gets the blessing, and we can receive the overflow on our marriage anyway.
That's it. Wow.
Love it, man.
Yes,
Love it,
sir.
man. Well, hey, I appreciate you having this conversation with me, man. Thank you all for joining us as well. Hope you got some good jewels out of this thing, man. At the end of the day, what I want you to understand is that this stuff takes work. It's a good work, but it does take effort. It takes communication. It takes being raw and real. But if you're willing to do that and use the principles that the Bible gives you so that you can live this life better and live marriage in the way that God calls you to do it, it's that much easier. So again, thank you for joining us. Before we go, tell me a little bit about the book real quick, man. I want to give you a moment to kind of platform this thing. What made you write this book?
Wow, great question.
Yes, indeed.
Some years ago, about maybe 2019 or so, the men's ministry at Beach Grove Bible Church invited me to speak on marriage.
Hmm.
And so I was preparing some notes, and I noticed that, it got a pretty good response from the men who were there.
Yeah.
And so I went back and I just expounded on the notes. And again, so this is a guide to prepare, repair, and strengthen your marriage. And I thought about all the things that I had learned over the years. Hey, don't do this, don't do that.
Yeah.
This might help, this may help, and so forth.
Sure.
And I think it's a good baseline, for men who are considering marriage. Or if your marriage is in a situation where you guys are not as connected, you can consider some of the things in this book. And I'm also excited to say that the moment I hit press on this one or enter on that one, there was more information.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there's going to be a part 2 to this.
All right.
But I think this
Good.
is a good start. You can find it on Amazon, Jeff Payne, The Married Man, Amazon.com.
Okay. Good deal. And we will have that link in the bio of this video below too. So again, man, brother, I appreciate you joining me, man. And it's always dope to talk with you. And this is, I know, something that we are passionate about.
Yes,
You know what I'm
sir.
saying? Marriage, man. And I hope that we again gave y'all some good jewels to get out of this, man. Join the podcast, man. We got a lot of great videos, not just this one. Check through the channel. We got more for you to check out. Send it to a couple friends. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Help us to get this word out to everybody else, okay? And don't just hold all this good food for yourself. Share that stuff, all right? And we'll catch you with the next one, all right? Peace. Thank you again for joining us on Disciple Men Podcast. We hope that you got something out of the conversation, that we brought some value to you. We're trying to do something over here, and we need your help to do that. If you could, please like and subscribe, share the video with a couple friends. We want to make sure to get this word out, help us men to step up to the road we're trying to do for the family, for God, for the community. We need your support. Look forward to you in the next one.